morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in this rainy and extra spooky Friday the 13th. Wow. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it is Friday the 13th. I don't have any Jason masks for you, but I have the second best. I have even creepier masks like this. Nice little creepy rat, right? I got a bunch of props for you today. So thank you for joining me finally on my first Friday as a non-student, or I guess I am a student, but I'm done with all my student work, just waiting for my grades. And yeah, very, very exciting. So thank you so much for being here. So today we're gonna go over my final project, which is AlteredNet, a dataset for digital imagery forgery detection. I phrased it very, very weirdly, but okay, I'm warming up. It's always like that in the beginning of live streams. I'm a bit rusty, especially since we haven't done anything last week. My apologies for not being here. I was super busy with working on this final project of mine. I submitted it this Monday, and now I'm a free person. Yay! Super happy. So yeah, we'll go over my entire project, which is an image classification pipeline. I'm showing you how I'm loading a manually curated dataset onto a Pytorch data loader, and then I'm using it in a classification pipeline. Hopefully you can hear well, hopefully you can see well. If I am out of focus, please let me know. I had some issues with the camera this morning. So yeah, I'm gonna get to your comments very, very soon. So let's begin. Okay. There you go, I'm here. So let's have a look at the comments. We already have an amazing super chat from Tobbs. Thank you so much for the cup of coffee before the robots take over. We're not gonna let them, no. And if you hear some noises outside, it's because it's garbage day here in Mission, and there's gonna be a bunch of trucks coming in and out. The window is open because it's like super hot here, and yeah, even though it's raining. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Let me know in the comments, where are you joining me from? I'm here from Mission, British Columbia, Canada, of course, as usual, the best place on earth. And let me know in the comments where you guys are from. And thank you so much for being here in advance. I know these comments were here before I even joined, so thank you guys for the support. My English is not good, but I like your videos. Great, great. I'm trying to speak slowly, trying to speak in language that everybody understands. And yeah. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. Greetings from Nairobi, Kenya. Hello. Hi. Greetings from Brazil. Hello. So hi to all the lovely folks in the comments. Max, I missed you. It's been a while since I've seen you. Literally has a robot with a gun behind her. Exactly. There you go. But I am drinking some coffee before it takes over. So yeah, thanks for being here. Stream every Friday. That's right, Badger. I'm trying to stream on Fridays in particular, but if you have a rehearsal every Friday, I'll move it. Let me know. I don't know if you have like a specific day where you're doing the band rehearsals and stuff. So if you do, let me know, Badger. I don't mind choosing a different day. I just arbitrarily choose Friday, but it doesn't really matter to me. Hello, Alan. Hello from Argentina. Hello. Hola, Junior. Nepal, Slovakia, Kingston, Jamaica. Nice, nice. Madrid, Spain, Brazil. Nice. We have a lot of Spanish and Portuguese speaking folks here. Amazing. We have from India. Again, Brazil. Argentina again. Incredible, guys. Awesome. So we're very Colorado, USA. There you go. So yeah, amazing. So it looks like we're majority of Portuguese and Spanish speaking folks here. Cool. I don't know much. I know a few things. I know a few songs. And I guess I know the Hola, ¿cómo estás? The usual stuff in Portuguese. I know tudo bem. I don't know much. I wish I did. Oh, hi from Vancouver. Eric, hello from 50 minutes away. I'm sure you heard about an hour away. Yeah, I guess in this traffic probably. It depends on where you are in Vancouver. Actually, we've been If you go all the way to UBC, it's about an hour and a half, which is crazy. My spouse and I, we went there to grab his, how do you call it? His jet fighter rig. We went there to meet with a nice YouTuber who sold it to us for a very, very good price. So we went there not too long ago. It was an hour and a half, but it's on the other side of Vancouver. There are some parts of Vancouver that you can reach within 50 minutes. So it's not that far, but honestly, not even crossing the bridge to Langley since I moved here. I don't even go there. Maybe to Abbotsford, but not to Langley. But yeah, it's something that locals will understand. Hello from Poland. Hello from India. Czechoslovakia. I've been there. Awesome. España. No rehearsal today, but it's literally only Fridays I do stuff. Lol. Okay, we'll do a different kind of day. I get you better. I want you to be here because it's not fun without you. Like, it's fun, but it's not as fun. But yeah, cool. I'm imagining you're not rehearsing because it's Friday the 13th. By the way, quick question to all the people in the audience. Do you know why Friday the 13th is considered such a bad luck day? Do you know what happened so many years ago that caused it that gave it this bad reputation? Now, I'm from a very superstitious background. I would say that a lot of East European people have this superstitious background. So I know all these things. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you know why it's such a cursed kind of day. And it started so funny because my spouse's phone didn't even ring. He has an alarm clock that wakes him up, obviously, and his phone had 98% battery, but somehow it just shut down and it didn't ring. Like, the phone was off even though it was fully charged. So that was a nice start of the day. I was like, okay, well, if you didn't know it's Friday the 13th, now you do. Norman was born on Friday the 13th. Norman, wow. Incredible. Okay, well, then it's not a bad day. Actually, Singer is sick. I can fill in. Bad luck for her, eh? Czechoslovakia no longer actually exists. Sorry, so Czech Republic, my apologies. I guess it's ricochets from previous times. Since 1993, there have been two countries, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So I've been to the Czech Republic. I've been to Brno. I'm sure that most of you don't know this city. It's not a most popular city, but it's beautiful. It's very ancient and old and very nice. I haven't been to Slovakia, though. Let's see, folks from Chile, that voice. Oh, thank you so much. Let's make game cheats infused with AI. I love your stream, but I program in C++. I used to program a bit in C++, but I find that Python is a bit more intuitive. It depends what you build. If you're building desktop applications, obviously C++ is probably a bit more reliable. I'm West End, so probably West Coast Express is my quickest option to mission. Well, West Coast Express is only going there in the morning and in the evening. What are you going to do if you're stuck there, right? I'm taking my tiny Fiat 500 to Vancouver. That's the only vehicle that I feel comfortable driving there. Driving there with a truck is just insane. The streets are so small. There's barely any parking, and I'm not the most skilled driver given my hair color. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm blonde, so... It's very, very challenging if you don't have a tiny, tiny car. But yeah. Do you consider Vancouver to be the West Coast? Of course. We are in the West Coast. We are in the Pacific Ocean. Like Vancouver, Canada. South Africa people are here. Hello, hello. I'm a big fan and learning so much from you. AI, machine learning, scraping. Love you from India. Hello, namaste, everyone. Namaste to all the folks from India. I live at flat 13. It was cheaper to buy than the... What? You know what? I guess it's a superstition that kind of stuck with a lot of Europeans, I guess. Because the story itself is European. Friday the 13th. I don't know if you heard about everybody heard about them. The Knights of Templar. They were a very, very big organization. They were helping pilgrims on their way to the Holy Land, Christian pilgrims. And they were protecting them, and they were helping them with bringing in their money. They were in charge of banking systems. They have their farmers, and they were a very big and organized organization that functioned very well for many, I would say a few hundreds of years. Very, very popular, very, very rich. And people trusted them, so they donated a lot of money to them. And their power grew to the point where I believe it was Philippe the Fourth. Fact check me on this one. King Philippe the Fourth, King of France. He on Friday the 13th, he sent a letter condemning them and accusing them of witchcraft and worshiping the devil and doing terrible things. So they ended up catching everybody who was all their leadership. They caught them, they tortured them, they executed them and everything. So the entire Knights of Templar, their entire order was demolished on what started on Friday the 13th. So that's why we're kind of worried about this day. And since then, a lot of other disasters have happened, but hopefully it changed when Norman was born. Because I don't know if recently there was a lot of issues on Friday the 13th. So Norman, I hope you broke this streak of bad luck. Except of today's alarm clock, which is basically much less terrible than what actually happened on Friday 13th, many centuries ago. But yeah, cool. Thank you for joining me on this history lesson. Oh, hello, Sinisha is here. Hi. Yeah, so last Friday we didn't have a stream. I was super busy with my final project, so you didn't miss anything. What were you gaming? What kind of games were you playing? Let me know. Cool. So thank you for joining us. Let's get to the core of this stream. Okay. Being distracted by your comments, sorry. I'm reading them as I'm talking. So yeah, let's get on with my project. So if you navigate to my GitHub, which is Maria Shah, no Maria Shah 888, just Maria Shah, you will go to my repositories and you can find my AlteredNet project right over here. Now I'm gonna make myself a bit smaller. I'm way too big. Where are you? Oh, OBS Studio is here. There you go. OBS Studio is right in front of my eyes on the teleprompt. Now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take myself to the side. What is this? Is that the mask? No. What am I catching here? What is this thing? Oh, that's my table. Never mind. So I'm going to put the mask here to cover the table a bit. And let me know if you have some issues with hearing me. I've put a headphone so I don't hear all the distractions, but the kids from school, the school next door, they have recess now. So you probably hear a lot of... Let me know if it's something that is being filtered or if you can hear it. By the way, anybody here from LinkedIn, I don't know why, but StreamYard doesn't show me the messages from LinkedIn. So if you guys are here from LinkedIn or from X, send me some message. Let me know you're here. I would love to see if it's a problem with StreamYard, because honestly, I feel like I'm paying them a bit too much and I'm not getting everything they promise. Because if I can't see your LinkedIn and X comments, I don't know if there's a point paying them, to be honest. But yeah, let's see what's happening. Let's see if we get a few of your comments here just to tell me, hi Maria, LinkedIn works, X works. Let me know. Okay, cool. So this is my project. I'm sure some of you have navigated here already. You have all the data, which consists of a training set of 240 images. You can have a look at those images. There's real and there's fake versions of each image. There you go. There's 144 fake and there's 144 real. There is 149 fake and 149 real. There you go. And there's all kinds of alternations that I applied on this data. Now, in terms of the validation set, we have 40 images to validate with. This is a process. That's a funny face. There's another one. Okay, so I actually manually created all these images in Photoshop. And altogether, I took 150 base images. I altered them according to several categories. You can actually find them in the criteria directory. We have criteria.txt, where every set of samples has a criteria attached to them. Okay, so altogether we have 15, oh, that would be in the next file, group by category. So altogether we have 10 different alternation criterias where each and every one of them has 15 images. Okay, now this data set, it consists of two classes, fake and real. However, if you use these text criteria, you can actually turn it into a multi-class problem, classifying between 10 different versions of alternations. It's just not enough data to do so, but if you guys would like to participate in this project, if you'd like to expand it, I really don't mind. That would be amazing. Actually, I pressed on a button on my earphone. I have a new headphone, and if I press on it, it gives me noise canceling. So now I cannot hear the kids playing around. Wow, that's crazy. Incredible headphones. Cool. So that was the criteria. Now I also have a test set that instead of including 2 images of each kind, it only includes 1. Okay, so this kind of mimics real life settings of real and fake images. Let's see a fake one. There you go. Let's see another fake one. There you go. And the hat is the fake. The fake feature. Cool, so that's basically the data set, but the data set is not really helpful unless we can actually prove that it's helpful, right? To prove it, I have an amazing Jupyter notebook full of step-by-step functions, a step-by-step workflow describing how I evaluated this data set. Now, this is not the most simplified thing in the world. I warn you. Okay, the rules that I have for the channel are very different from the rules that I have for my university. For this project, I had to go a bit more complex than you used to see. Therefore, I used Pytorch, which allows you to you can customize everything you want with anything you want with Python. But with Pytorch, the rule of thumb is you'd like to customize your training function, your testing function, and that's what I've done here. So first of all, we have an environment setup that includes all these module imports, as well as a device, which in my case would be my GPU running CUDA. Now, even though I'm going over this notebook on my Rogue build, this was trained on my laptop, okay? So, sorry guys, I'm just gonna close the window. My apologies. I noticed that there's a whole bunch of noise here. So let me close it. It distracts me. Let's do it. Okay, there you go. It's probably a bit better. Let me know. The kids are playing like soccer and stuff outdoors, so it's hard to concentrate, but it was super. Hi, Alan. Oh, wow. Wow, is that Alan Turing? Holy smokes. The dude is my hero, so if you call me Alan, holy smokes, I made it. I officially made it in life. But yeah. So this is very handy. If Torch CUDA is available, then use your GPU for training. Why? Because it turns a training that would usually take you hours into a training that would take you minutes, literally. It's really, really handy. I can't hear any background noise. It's great. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow, kids are outside playing rare moments. Well, you know what? This city I moved into, Mission, Vancouver reviewer will know it's a city that is a bit more, that is not as urban as other cities. It reminds me of how Canada used to be about 10 years ago, which was amazing. That kind of what convinced me to move here. And that's why I'm here now. It's very, very old school, and I love it. It's really, really cool. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, I think I'm gonna stop at a few points. I'm gonna ask you to write them. So maybe write them aside, and then when I tell you like, hey, this is question time, just kind of pop them on the screen, because I see a bunch of stuff on the screen right now, and I'm barely looking when I'm explaining the notebook. So my apologies if I don't catch it on time, but I'll catch it later. Cool. So after we set up a device, we can go and set up our costume image dataset. Now this function is an adaptation of this class is an adaptation of what Pytorch recommends you to do. So whenever you curate a dataset on your own, rather than loading somebody else's data, you would usually need this type of function to put it in a class. And from this function, you can go ahead and put it in a data loader. Okay, so first we load all these images along with their labels, and then we turn it into a data loader object. Okay, it also shuffles our images and it splits our images into batches. Batches. Not badges. So the reason why we split our entire data set into small batches is because we cannot load all this data all at once. If we do this, we can probably crash our neural network. So we want to do it step by step, and it depends on the size of your data set. So what you would like to do is you would like to set up a predefined batch size. Very often we would use a batch of 32 or 64, depending on the size of your data set. Since my data set is very small, my batch size is 5. Which is a bit silly, but it is what it is. That's what I'm working with. And yeah, so basically when we load the data set, it's a big collection of images, but then we turn this big collection into a collection of batches of images. Okay, small groups in the same size that is very, very easy to load into the neural network. Cool. Let me know if you have any questions right now in the comments. Don't split into badgers. One is enough. Thank you, Sinisha, for the commentary. What is the shuffle for? So basically, your data, you want it to be shuffled. You want it to be randomly sampled, as random as possible, right? Especially if you're doing a few runs of this data, you don't want it to be static in the same position. You want to create variation, because the whole thing about neural networks is that you want to show it as many examples with as many variations as possible, so the neural network can learn the most out of it, right? So whenever you're placing your images, how do I explain it in simple terms? Basically, you'll go over image by image, and each image changes your neural network a little bit. It changes something called weights, which is one of the main components that we're trying to achieve with a process called training. Holy smokes, I don't think I'm being simplified enough, but whenever you see a sample, it affects the neural network in a tiny bit affects the neural network. And then you see the next sample, and then it affects the network also tiny bit. So the placement of each sample may affect the results of your training. Okay, so when you do it randomly, when you don't do it predefined, it's a bit more meaningful in the end. Holy smokes, let me know if it makes any sense. I hear myself, and I don't know the kind of level you guys are coming with, if you have some background in neural networks. So I'm trying to adapt it to beginners, but it's hard to adapt it to beginners because these are kind of not beginner concepts. So let me know in the comments if somebody understood it. So far, so good-ish. Okay, so the ish is what I'm worried about. No file storage or all in RAM. No, it is on the files. So basically, these data sets that you see, they're on the system. They are local. We're talking about a directory. In my case, data/labels. Actually, if you clone this onto your computer, this entire repository, you will see what I'm talking about, because this data labels directory is right over here. This is where I store the labels. And by the way, the labels are automatically generated with this file. So if you want to add a few samples on your end, as long as you name them in the same convention that I named them, it's going to work just fine. You just need it to end with an _real or an _fake. and then it will calculate the label automatically. Okay, it's a very nice process. Where was I? I was here. No, I was not here. I was elsewhere. I was here. There you go. Let's go down. Cool. Let's see if somebody else has questions. Are you sure? Are you sure shuffle is truly random? Probably not, because in computers there's not a lot of random things, but it's as close to random as possible. So the idea is, it is not in the same order every time that you're loading this data. Okay, the order changes. If it makes sense. I get what you say on shuffle. I had a class on deep learning last semester. Awesome. Добрый вечер. Здрасте. Добрый вечер. The neural network is storage in RAM. So when you train it, it's probably cached. But once you're done with it, you're saving it. And in fact, if you go to a very nice folder, I can't open it like that. Hold on, I don't want to exit from here because I want to have it open. If you go to data and checkpoints, you will see that I have 6 neural networks. So that's the trained, the fine-tuned neural networks. And the numbers indicate the number of epochs that they trained on. We will get there soon. I trained a whole bunch of neural networks and determined which of them is better. But that's the general idea. While you're training it, it is not saved on your system. It is cached or it is in your RAM. And then depending, I guess, on your depending on the framework you're using, I'm not sure how it works behind the scene with Pytorch, but in the end of your training process, it is very common to save your model so you can use it again, right? Because if you don't save it, and then your kernel is shut down, or I don't know, your computer shuts down, you won't be able to restore it. You just need to retrain it again, and it's a hustle. Cool. So back in our notebook. Yeah, so Star-Lord, I'm getting there for sure. So yeah, let's go on, and then we're gonna ask another question. So what is the difference between neural networks and machine learning? Neural networks is an algorithm. Machine learning is basically a topic, a category of algorithms, I guess. It's a field of study, right? Neural network is a very specific algorithm within this field of study, or actually it's more inside the deep learning field of study. What falls into machine learning, the type of algorithms would be something like linear regression, K nearest neighbors, these type of algorithms, decision trees. Into deep learning, this is where we put the neural networks, which is a bit more complex than machine learning, okay? So I'm gonna get to other questions very, very soon. Is there machine learning without neural networks? Yes, because neural networks are a deep learning algorithm, to be precise. Even though we don't use, I guess right now we're using machine learning and deep learning interchangeably. People are more familiar with the machine learning term, but if we'd like to be extra accurate, neural networks are a deep learning algorithm because we're doing some deep residual. You'll see it very soon. You'll see it very soon. I'll show you how many parameters we're dealing with. Cool. Press period. Maria, it will open your project in a web version. Studio Code would be much easier to browse different folders. I was thinking about it, but honestly, I have some stuff on my computer that are not announced yet. So my apologies about that. I don't want to show things from my computer. That's why I'm showing it through my GitHub. I have some top secret stuff that you will find out about next week. So I'm scared that if I'll start browsing through my computer, you guys might have a peek, and I'm not supposed to show it. I know, top secret, absolutely top secret, but you'll find out what it is next week. You'll be shocked. It's really, really cool. So next process is plotting some of these images. Now, because that's how it looks like. We're plotting some fake, some real images from the dataset, and they are picked by random. We are plotting a random batch of data, And the reason why this function looks so long is because when you're dealing with a data loader, you're dealing with something that is an iterable. It is not exactly a collection that you can access by index. It is something that you use the iter and next command, and then something random pops. Okay, so if you run this function time after time after time, you will get random different batches, and you're gonna get only one of them because I added the break command. Okay, but this gives you a nice look into not just what kind of samples you're dealing with to verify that your samples are nice. It also verifies the batch shape, which is the shape of data that you enter into your neural network. Okay, this would be your input. It shows you the sample shape. So each and every image is 224 pixels by 224 pixels and 3 color channels deep, meaning RGB. The reason why it's 224 pixels is because we resized it right over here. We specified the size of 224, and we could have specified 512, but this would be, you would need a much bigger neural network to process it. Okay, the type of neural networks that I selected to work with my data set are adapted to 224 pixels in size. Okay, and this is a very customizable function. That's why I'm choosing Pytorch, because everything is extra customized and it's a bit more impressive that way. And you want to impress whoever is grading your university final project, I guess. Cool. Now there's a lot of explanations here. I don't know if I paid a lot of attention to this. I probably paid more attention to it at the beginning of the process. And then towards the end of the submission, I forgot about these markdown cells, because my university doesn't really check this part. They mostly check my report, which is something that I didn't upload. I didn't upload my report yet. Maybe I should. Cool, so we are down to the load model function. And as you can see, we are dealing with two state-of-the-art models named AlteredNet and VGG. Now, if you guys are not familiar with these models, they've been entered into a very, very prestigious competition of classifying images from a dataset named ImageNet. So ImageNet is a dataset of millions upon millions of images with thousands of different classes, and what it classifies is something called synsets, so synonymous sets. Okay, so these are two words that are combined together, and the images describe these two words. And there's 1,000 different classes that these networks are classifying. Okay, in my case, I only need 2 classes. I only need fake and real. I don't need 1,000 of them. So I'm going to need to customize my neural network as a result. Okay. ImageNet Large Scale Visual Recognition Challenge. That's right. That's right. That's the one. So AlteredNet in 2012 submitted their neural network. I would say, I think it was, you need to fact check me on this one. I'm basing it off from the last keynote of Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, from the GTC. He said that everything started with AlteredNet. When AlteredNet saw an image of a cat and returned an output of CAT, this basically started this beautiful journey of deep residual neural networks controlling our day-to-day life. But yeah, according to him, AlteredNet was first, and I believe it was indeed first. We need to double check it. And then VGG was inspired by AlteredNet. I believe they submitted it the year after or 2 years after, and they have very similar architectures. That's why I'm using both of them here, and that's why I'm customizing them according to the exact same principles. Okay, so principle number 1 is we need to calculate the input units of the original network, because you cannot really change it. So you need to make sure that your input shape is being fetched directly from the model itself. Okay, that's why we have model, classifier, and input features. And we assign it to the input features that we pass to the new classifier that we make. Why do we need a new classifier? Because we don't have 1,000 classes. We only have 2 of them. Okay? Now, I also trimmed the number of layers because I'm working with very, very few samples. 300 samples is not a lot of data. So in that case, you need a simpler neural network to deal with them. You don't want it to be too complex because the neural network will learn the examples really well, it will memorize them, and then it won't be able to generalize on data that it hasn't seen before, okay? So that's why the neural network is way smaller than the original classifier. The original classifier has 2 fully connected linear layers. Mine has 1. And this doesn't count because this is the output layer. There you go. Cool. I like your comments. I'll get to them shortly. And that's how you create how you load these models that were already trained on thousands of images. And that's why I chose them, because I don't have a lot of data. I prefer my neural networks to be smart already on other data. And then I'm just fine tuning them to work with the new data that they'll be exposed to. Okay, so this is a process of fine tuning rather than training. There you go. And where was this question that I pulled earlier? Let's see, hyperparameters. If I can even find it. Yikes. There you go. Okay, Starlord, can you give an overview of how did you settle on the hyperparameters for this later in the stream? Okay, that's your answer. Sample models. This function allows me to create variations of each model. What do I mean? Basically, we're taking the good old VGG model and we're making variations of it with 512 hidden units, 448 hidden units, 372 hidden units, and dropout rates of 0.8, 0.6, and same goes for AlteredNet. Okay, so all together we are making, how many? I think 6. Hold on, let me see. So yeah, so altogether we're making 6 different neural networks, and then we are evaluating them based on comparing their training loss to their validation loss and training accuracy to validation accuracy, and then we determine which is better. Okay, so we make a whole bunch of neural networks with different parameters, and in my case, I chose to save it in a dictionary because I want to know, I want to remember what this model that I'm looking at consists from. So I want to remember what kind of a dropout rate it has. I want to remember how many output units it has, and I want to give it an ID, which will allow me to name it in my research, right? And for each of these models, I'm calling this load model function, okay, that customizes the original model according to these lovely principles. Okay, so take a look at it in your personal time. Kind of try to. I think everything is clearly explained here because every function has the input and output. It tells you exactly what is expected. You have all kinds of comments. I made it for you guys because I know that the people from my university are very. They rarely check the code. They actually want you to submit a video telling them what exactly is it that you were working on. I'm suspecting it's because not a lot of them are actually proficient with the topic. They're just taking regular teachers from, oh, what is this nastiness? Why is it with a single quote? So sloppy. Sorry, you guys. I don't know what happened to me here. This is embarrassing. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. But yeah, this is mostly for you guys. This is not for... University doesn't check these type of stuff, or very rarely they would. Cool, so here you sample with different dropout rates and you sample with different numbers of hidden units. Another thing you can sample is learning rates. In my case, only specific learning rates worked for my training, so I didn't add the learning rates here. As soon as you kind of choose a different one, the network becomes stupid. So I was working with set learning rates, but these parameters, they should be checked. So you do it by trial and error, and based on the results, you can tell if you're going in the right direction or you're really off. You will see it in the graphs shortly. Okay, so very importantly, every machine learning project has to have a validation function. Okay, so what do we do in this function? So this function is being called inside the training function, because when you're training your model, you get an accuracy score based on information that your model has already seen. So the model is basically exposed to your entire data time and time again for a number of what we call epochs, and each and every one of these epochs allows you to improve the accuracy on the data that the model is already familiar with. So what we do with the validation function is we test it on data that the model hasn't seen yet. Okay, that's why we have a separate validation set and we have a separate training set. Now, there are ways in which we can take the training set and we can split it through the training. It's called k-fold validation, but I didn't do it here, and I'll explain why in the very, very end. I couldn't. I wanted to, but I couldn't. It was a limitation of file size more than a limitation of what I was capable of doing or not. Sorry. I was waiting until the last moment to apply this k-fold validation, and I didn't realize that there is a cap on how many gigabytes I can load into this repository. We'll talk about it later. Anyhow, validation is very important because through the training process, it allows us to evaluate on data that the model hasn't seen before. And if your training accuracy improves, it doesn't necessarily mean that your model is learning. Sometimes it means that your model memorizes, and it's really, really good with the samples it's seen. But as soon as you show it something different, it's going to get confused. So that's why we have validation. So as long as the validation accuracy grows and the training accuracy grows, we are dealing with a proper model. If it's not the case, we will need to change some of the parameters, maybe add some data, and so on and so on. Cool. This is the save checkpoint function that I talked about earlier. It basically saves the trained model, the fine-tuned model on your system. Now, these files are huge. Okay, these files are over 100 megabytes in size, and it's very tricky to upload them to GitHub. You need to use something called GitHub Large File System. And unless you are aware that it has a cap, I think you have a monthly cap of 1 gigabyte, which I totally reached. I didn't know I'm going to reach it. Then you either need to pay them, which is something that I don't want to do for a school project, or you need to wait until next month, which is a privilege that I did not have. So I saved all these fancy models, I loaded them to GitHub, and then I realized that even if I create this new model with using k-fold validation, I won't be able to, include it in the public repository of my project, which is something that I submit with my work. So, okay. But this is the save function, and this is the load function. And what we're saving is not just the model itself, but it's also the state dictionary, the state of the model, and also the optimizer state. Now, optimizer is what allows us to improve the accuracy of our model time and time again. Optimizer measures the distance between where you are and where you want to be, and it doesn't measure the distance. That's the loss function. Okay, let's start from the beginning. We have we're gonna get there. Okay, we're gonna get there, and then I'll explain optimizers when they're in front of your face, as in here. Okay, so when we train a model, we have an optimizer that is based on the parameters of our model. Okay, it is also based on the type of learning rate we choose, which is how fast we will learn things. Okay, and it's based on something called weight decay, which is what we call a regularization technique. Okay, I know this is complex. That's why I told you it's not going to be a simplified one. Okay, regularization is what helps you to take a model that memorized data and turn it into a model that actually learns data, a model that generalizes. Okay, so one way to do so is with dropout, which is something that we didn't fully discuss earlier. Maybe we should. Let me know if you guys want to discuss dropout. Let me know in the comments below. right? We really need that. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yes, I'll do these videos. I probably should. It's a bit more organized way of explaining things. I thought we could just go step by step and everything works, but I see things that don't visually appear until a later stage, and then I'm struggling with explaining them. But yeah, let's discuss dropout. We have all the time in the world. Okay, so let's go over dropout quickly. So dropout was invented by lovely Geoffrey Hinton, which is a great hero of our time. Sadly, he didn't make it to the most influential people in AI by Time magazine. It appears that Scarlett Johansson made it, and not Geoffrey Hinton, who invented dropout, which I was very upset about. It just didn't make sense. No, dropout is not models that fail. Dropout is a regularization technique, okay? It's something we used to prevent our model from what we call overfitting. Now, overfitting is what I explained earlier, when the model memorizes the data that it sees very, very well, but as soon as you show it something else, it fails to recognize it, okay? So it memorized, it didn't learn. So to prevent it, we have something called dropout. Now, dropout helps us to get rid of a percentage of the things we've learned, okay, in simplified terms. Okay, so let's say the model learned a whole bunch of stuff, okay, and then you wanted to forget some of it, randomly select some things to drop. Okay, that's why it's called dropout. And the dropout rate depends on the kind of data you're working with, the best dropout rate for your model. I've seen dropout rates of 0.1, I've seen dropout rates of 0.8, but Geoffrey Hinton recommends 0.5, okay? 0.5 sometimes worked for my data. I'll show you the results very soon, but it very much depends on your data. Okay, this is very, very necessary. Very often, if your model overfits, what would save you is a higher dropout rate. And don't be afraid to choose 0.8 or 0.7. I know it sounds like you're dropping most of the things that your model learned, but sometimes it results in better results. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Okay. And weight decay is another way to basically drop some of the data that your weights learned. And weights is based, oh man, I have a video explaining weights very, very well in my introduction to neural networks tutorial. So check it out on YouTube. I have an entire playlist full of machine learning stuff for beginners. So check it out. I explain it very, very well. Cool. So basically weights is the neural connection that the neural network has. These are all, so if we take a human brain and we have a bunch of nodes in this brain, okay, and each node, there's a different memory attached or a different impulse, what we call. So what connects one node to the other is what we call a weight, okay? And usually it comes with a multiplication factor, okay, that tells that certain nodes have more impact, other nodes have less impact. I hope it's kind of clear, but that's what I mean when I say weights. But check out my tutorial. Maybe that's a good idea. Oh, I'm going to show it to you. I'll send you the tutorial I have in mind. That would be neural networks. There you go. That's the one. Neural networks for beginners. Let me copy this. I'm going to send it to you here in the messages. I explain everything. I explain what hidden units are as well. We talked about it briefly, so you'll have a bit more background with this. Okay, so what happens in the training process? We're already inside the training function. And it takes in a whole bunch of parameters, as you can see. It is not a simplified one, no. And what it returns is validation loss, training loss, validation accuracy, and training accuracy, okay? Which is something that we accumulate as we train. Now, for a range of epochs, we select a number of times where the model will be exposed to the entire data set from 0 to the very last sample. And this varies we will test the best number of epochs shortly. But for now, we are using a small number of epochs just to see which hyperparameters work better, okay? That's what we're starting with. We, of course, put the model in training mode, and we start tracking the loss, okay? So the first thing we do, okay, we load our, we take the train loader or the data loader we created earlier, and we split it into a batch, inputs, and labels. So inputs and samples are the same thing, and targets and labels are also the same thing. You will see them in different names depending on the developer who created this, this notebook, okay? And then you start moving on with the training process. So you first send them to the device you are using, because if you're using the GPU, you need to load them onto GPU. If you're using the CPU, you need to load them onto your CPU. And you know, that way, because your model is either on the CPU or either on the GPU, so your samples should also be in the appropriate device, okay? We turn off the gradients. Wow, that's going to be a long one to explain. Check out my gradient descent tutorial. Should I pull it out? No, you guys can find it. Just look gradient descent Python simplified. You will find it. You will see what I mean by gradients, okay? And then we make a forward pass. We are basically sending our samples into the model. And then we are fetching the probabilities that the model gave it, okay? So we show our samples to the model, and in the initial first step that the model is exposed to the samples, it just makes random guesses, okay? So these probabilities on the very first epoch will be pretty bad, okay? The accuracy of the model will be incredibly bad. So we always start from a very low accuracy, from random guesses, okay? And then we see if the guesses that our model made, they actually match the labels of the data, okay? So if the model says that the sample is fake, but the actual label of the sample is real, it means that it incorrectly classified it. So it's going to drop the accuracy rate, okay? However, if most of the samples that the model recognized are accurate, if they're a perfect match to the actual label of the data, then the accuracy will be higher, okay? So, and that's why it's a process that should improve, okay? It's not a process that begins with a high rate, it begins with a very small rate, and then it increases along the way, okay? Okay, where is the loss? Okay, yeah, this is just, this is me collecting accuracy data. This is something that only I do in the customized function, so you can ignore it. I'm just fetching the information for later on. Then usually we have a loss calculation, okay? So we take the probabilities, okay? We take the outputs of our neural network, what our neural network calculated, okay? Just ignore these. Okay, ignore these 4 lines of code and focus on this one, and this one is after it. That's what you will mostly see in most notebooks, most workflows, okay? And then we calculate the distance between the output we got from the neural network, between the guess that it made and the actual label. We measure this distance, and this would be our loss score. Okay, and then we use the optimizer. We use the optimizer with this, according to this loss score, in order to get us closer to where we want to be. I hope it makes sense. What is a gradient? Yeah, Tony, check out this video of mine. It's gonna be, it's a visual, longer explanation. So I'm referring you to a video. I got a lot of feedback on this video. People said I explained it very well, so I don't even want to attempt to confuse you. I'm just going to send you, there you go, it's here. It's my gradient descent video. That's the one. Let me copy it, and I'm going to send it to you in the comments. Check it out. It's anywhere you're going to learn it is going to be very complex. They'll explain it with a formula, but yeah, check it out. I don't even want to go into it. I know I'm not going to explain it very well. It requires some illustrations and examples, and I already have a perfect video that I get a lot of good feedback of, so just check it out. Thank you. Euclidean distance. I don't know if you can specify what kind of distance you want to measure. You should be able to. I don't know if here you can, but I know you can do so in scikit-learn, for sure. For sure. Let's see, hold on. Maria fixed the camera focus. Holy smokes, you guys. Thanks for letting me know. Like, I don't know what's going on with my camera today. I try to, it usually focuses on my eyes and I can see it through the camera, but not anymore. I don't know on what did I press to make it happen. Yeah, I don't think that reset works. I turn it on, I turn it off. Yeah. Weird. It's Friday the 13th, you guys. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's Friday the 13th. No, I don't think it's the mic as much as it is the stand of the mic. I think that's what causes it. So not sure what's going on. Where were we? Yeah, okay, so training is done. Once in a while, we print the results of our training. You can decide within how many steps. In my case, I've done it once an epoch, so I can get a per epoch type of view. You should play Farmer was replaced on stream. I didn't even know it exists. Farmer was replaced. I'm trusting you, Josh. If this is a dirty game, you're gonna get in trouble. Farmer was replaced. It sounds like a very nice game. Let's see. Okay. Program and optimize a drone to automate a farm and watch it do the work for you. I don't know if I have time for this. I'm better off getting my own farm. I live in the countryside now. But yeah. It does sound like fun. I agree. Cool. So we're done with training. We're saving our model only if we would like to save it. Okay, I have a flag here. Is save. And this ends the training. So let's see how our models did. Okay, let's see. So first of all, I've sampled VGG, and as you can see, the training process once an epoch prints a train loss, validation loss, training accuracy, and validation accuracy. Why do we do it? Because you don't want to wait until, epoch 12, which in my case takes only a few minutes, but sometimes you would work with 20 epochs or 50 epochs, or AlteredNet was based on 90 epochs. So imagine finding out that your network is not actually learning only after 5 days. You don't want to do it. So you want your network, you want your training process to print some stats as it goes. Okay, that's why you have these very long print statements for every model. Okay, we do the same for AlteredNet. I'm using the exact same learning rate and the exact same weight decay. In my case, it wasn't particularly helpful for regularization. It helped a little bit, but not too much because I'm dealing with very, very little data. If your data sets are bigger, obviously you'll get better results. Visualize sampling results. This is the fun part. This is where you actually compare one network to the other and you decide which of these is the winner. These are the results. So what you want to make sure in terms of accuracy, okay, you want your validation accuracy and your training accuracy to gradually grow. Now, these are not the kind of graphs you will see on your end because you will probably have sufficient data. I had insufficient data. I had only 300 samples, which is nothing. Imagine basing your entire life philosophy on only 300 samples. That's not a lot. So that's why the training results are kind of rocky. Okay. Also, I saved it per epoch and not per every, not 5 times an epoch. So not 5 times per epoch or 10 times per epoch, right? So these results are kind of spiky, let's call it. Okay, so what I was looking for here is I was looking for the network that has the highest. Actually, let me see if I can pull it out from my project, because I have it very nicely done on my project. Let's go to my Google Drive. Let's go. Where was it? Final project. My apologies. I should have prepared it in advance. Final submission. Where is it? AlteredNet. No. Is that it? Is that it? Are you here? Is that you, buddy? Let's see. That's my report, actually. My report. Oh, it is here. Okay, let's pull it out here. Good. Very, very good. Okay. It's a 30-something page report. Very thorough report. So what I've done here is I looked at in which networks the accuracy grew from the very first epoch until the very last epoch, both in terms of validation and both in terms of training. And the models indicated in green are the ones where the accuracy grew across both sets. Am I out of focus again? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Sorry, guys. Holy smokes. I need to fix my camera. Whew, I need to fix it. Okay. Back to the substance. To the substance? How do you call it? Back to the main topic. It's probably not the right word. Okay, we have then the loss that we're also comparing between the validation and the training. And here we would like the loss to be lower. Okay, so at the beginning of training, the loss should be very high because the distance between where we want to be and where we are is very high when we're randomly guessing. But when we're actually learning things, we want this distance to be very low. So here I indicated in green the models where both the validation and the training loss have dropped from the first epoch to the last one. Okay, submarine, that's right, Tobbs. You know me so well. I meant submarine. And then when we look at these models in green, and when we look at these models in green, only two of them belonged to the category of. Only two of them qualified, sorry. This one and this one. Why? Because it was green in the accuracy scores and it was green in the loss scores, okay? And these are the two models that I evaluated one across the other, one against the other. And how this evaluation went, I enlarge it probably. Does it? Oh, it's enlarged. It enlarges the other screen. Okay, I need to enlarge this one. Let's see. Okay, yeah, probably. I'm just going to move it to the side. That's a bit better. So what I've done is I took the information of both models and I compared it to one another. Now, in terms of the growth in accuracy, one model grew more than the other one, obviously. There's a bigger gap right over here than it is over here. Okay, so model 3 had the upper hand. Additionally, when you are calculating loss, you don't want the loss to suddenly spike. You know, it happens once in a while. The validation loss spiked, but in model 3, it spiked less. So that's why I went with model number 3. So everything is justified and everything is data driven, and this is how we do this hyperparameterization process. Yikes, that's a tough word to pronounce. Way tougher than submarine. Cool. Same goes for AlteredNet. I've done very, very similar analysis of the results. It's way more spiky here. And the winners were these lovely neural networks. Now here, the loss was not particularly impressive, but there was a big gap in terms of accuracy, and at least the training accuracy from one model to the other. So that's why I chose one over the other. Okay, then we move on to epoch sampling. Okay, so just because we chose the best model, the model with the best parameters, doesn't mean that we know for how many epochs to train it, right? Because when you overtrain a model, it starts overfitting, what we talked about earlier. It starts memorizing the data. So you want to train it for just the right amount. And this is why we do some epoch optimization. I don't know if it's common. I do it. I hope it's common. But I took the best of the best two models, and I trained them across. What is this? Oh, these are just the models I selected. Okay. This is the test function, the evaluation function. I did not arrange it properly. Okay, that was supposed to be below, but that's okay. That's okay. Never mind. No, it was supposed to be here. Sorry, I'm hallucinating, you guys. It was supposed to be here. It's like it's been a few days, and I tried to forget. I was very focused on forgetting the trauma from this submission. Okay. Okay, so in terms of testing epochs, I took each and every model and I trained it across different numbers of epochs. So when it came to VGG, I trained it across 10 epochs, 24 epochs, and 36 epochs. And this time I printed at least 5 times per epoch. I show the results. That's why you have way more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 times per epoch. I printed the results. I traced it really, really well. And the results, actually, we can see them here a bit better, go as follow. So in terms of accuracy of VGG, we have this. Now, generally speaking, it looks pretty good, even though the training accuracy dropped very, very low on this model. That's why I kind of stayed away from it. I think I went for model number 3. In terms of AlteredNet, this is very, very bad. You know, the validation loss, if it looks like that on the best performing model, that's not good. You want it to gradually increase. This doesn't look like a gradual increase. It looks like a very bare minimal increase. And I would say that until epoch, so that was, I believe that this model was trained for 10 epochs. So I believe by the 3rd epoch, it was as good as it gets, at least this model, okay? And then the accuracy would be only 60%, which is 4 points higher than your accuracy in the test samples. So it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's smarter. It's better, but it's not enough. So I think I went with the 2nd model right over here. Let's see what I actually went for. And in terms of loss, you also measure loss. And you can see that my model does not perform well. None of them performs particularly well because the loss should be gradual and not like this, okay? Part of doing research is actually discussing what went wrong, and I had a lot of things to discuss what went wrong. But my hypothesis is that because it had very little data, 300 samples is just simply not enough, no matter how much I want to stretch it. If it was 3,000 samples, then yeah, it would look much better, but it didn't work. Cool, and these are the final results of the model. Baseline is your results, by the way. It's what you guys have achieved in terms of accuracy, recall, and precision. And my goal was to surpass you. Okay, so the worst part was precision, because only one of the models surpassed you, and it's the 0.42. You want your precision to be low. Okay, you want your accuracy to be high, and you want your recall to be high. And your precision was pretty good. Okay, now in terms of what is precision and what is accuracy, I have amazing things to read to you. I should probably load this into, I should load it into GitHub as well. Okay, evaluation. Where are my evaluation metrics? Probably in the design stage. Let's see. Test subset, that's the implementation. And there you go. Okay. So what is the recall metric? The recall metric is the where am I? is the samples that were predicted negative, but they were actually positive. Okay? No, that's false negatives. Where is my... I had like a very nice summary. Is that it? Okay, let's start with precision. Sorry, guys, mind fart. The precision metric, I don't even know where to look at. The precision metric measures how many samples were correctly classified as positive out of all the samples that were classified as positive, okay? There you go. That's one. Okay, the recall metric measures how often positive samples are correctly classified and can be calculated using the following formula. Okay, and accuracy, we all know what accuracy is, how many samples were correctly classified out of all the samples in the world. Okay, couldn't you maybe expand your data set by maybe duplicating some images and doing so, editing on them so they look different and can still prove to be useful for variation? So the outline of my data set is applying one type of alternation on each sample. I didn't take a sample and made a few alternations. There are many data sets, actually they're in the literature section of my data set, that were absolutely automated. There's a data set name, high quality, I'll find it right now, HQ Edit. It's a data set that was automated fully with DALL-E and with GPT, ChatGPT, I believe, or GPT-4. All the images in this data set were generated with AI. The labels for these images, the description of these images, everything was generated with AI. I looked at some of it. It was a very nice data set. But the only problem is you can't really know for sure that AI did a very good job unless a person reviews it and can verify it, right? Another thing is that in my data set, I didn't generate the original photo. I took an existing photo from a stock image website and I created variation on it. I alternated it. And the whole idea of this research was checking if proper classification can be made on a relatively small subset. That was the whole part of my research. And the conclusion is, well, it's better than the baseline for sure, which was my goal. It's better than how you guys classified it. I reached better scores, but is it perfect? No. It can be done much better. And in the end of the research, you of course suggest how to improve it, how you can expand the data set, ideas for further development, and I welcome you guys to give me your input, to participate in this lovely project. But the whole idea of this project is that it's manually curated to a level of creating believable imagery, things that actual humans will find challenging to classify. Okay, it's that real. Now, when you're dealing, let's have a look at this HQ Edit data set. I'll tell you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. Let's view the PDF. I looked at all this research. I read everything. Okay, there you go. So this is the research. University of California, Santa Cruz. To all the Californians in the crowd. Basically, it consists of one AI-generated image and an alternation of the AI-generated image. And then instead of measuring recall and accuracy and precision, they measured the quality of they measured the quality of the result they have. So they have something called coherence, if I'm not mistaken, and they have alignment, which is metrics that I wasn't aware of. It was measuring the quality of the prompt compares to the output, something like that. It's a bit of a different research than what I've done. But what I wanted to show you is here in the examples. Hold on, I'm getting there. No, that's not it. There was a girl with purple hair. Sorry. Okay, there you go. So that's an example of what I mean. When you when you automate the process of creating images, yeah, you can create more images, but when you, for example, ask an AI model on its own to just make her hair color purple, right? You can see variations where not just her hair color is purple, her eyes have changed. She has purple lipstick, she has purple shirt, right? You have an image where only the top of her hair is purple, right? So in order to get to this proper sample here on the right, you don't know which of these variations your AI model will choose. So when you automate this process, yeah, the quantity is, you get a very big quantity, but the quality may not be as good as you expect. And even though neural networks, they need a lot of samples, these need to be high quality samples because you don't want to teach your model inaccurate things, okay? So yeah, these hallucinations, even if you are using Adobe Photoshop, which is the tool that I use, they have an embedded model, Firefly. So even if you're using it, even if you have certain control of the fields that you modify, you have certain control with the level of modifications, very often when you look at an image and it seems like it is perfectly suitable for one modification, what Firefly will spit will not be believable. I will look at it and I could tell you for sure that this is AI modified, right? My idea for this data set was to avoid these type of situation and create data that is highly believable. So yeah, some of the samples are less believable than others, but at least a relative degree of believable result is what I was aiming for. I really wanted a high quality data set. Quantity, not so much. Sorry guys, maybe you can help me with this. And maybe we can use some other techniques to create it. But yeah, the manual curation process was very important. The quality had to be top notch. Okay, cool. So that's just one of the researches another cool research that I think you guys should check. This one is called CFake. There you go. I'm going to pull it out right now. So CFake, I'm sure many of you are familiar with CFAR10. I think we used it in some of the videos on the channel. CFAR10 is a data set also by Geoffrey Hinton, who did not qualify to be influential in AI by the Time magazine. Once again, Geoffrey Hinton in charge of the CFAR10 data set, along with his team from the University of Toronto, of course. Shout out to all the Ontarians in the comments. Yeah, frogs, cars, airplanes, exactly. Images of vehicles, animals and vehicles. And there's a whole bunch of these images. It's a very large data set. So what CFake did is they took 60,000 samples from the CFAR10 data set, which is public, open source. You can use it for anything you'd like. And it generated, so this was the real image class, 60,000 real images from this very popular data set, and it automatically generated another 60,000 images also of airplanes and vehicles, but they were fully AI generated, and the process was automated with the stable diffusion model that we actually use in a previous tutorial on the channel. So that would be stable, there you go, create stable diffusion GUI app. In this video, I showed you how to use this model. It's in fact the exact same version of model. Okay, so I'm gonna post it here in the comments if you'd like to have a look. The exact same model, so it's pretty cool. It automated the process by basically creating a very long loop where 60,000 values long loop that just generates images of frogs, airplanes, vehicles and stuff, which is really, really cool. So this data set, you can also play with it. It's also available for you to experiment with, and it also has two classes, okay? It has real and fake, even though each of these classes have a subclass, just like my alternation criteria, so that's pretty cool. Awesome, you watched it? Yay, I'm so happy. It's a very, very sophisticated type of application. I think if you're applying for jobs and stuff like that, it's nice to have it there because it shows that you can work with, you know, Hugging Face models and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, so where was I? I was near the end. Did I explain everything? Did I explain everything? I think the only thing I didn't explain is the prediction process. Okay, so that's the training of the AlteredNet model. Also pretty bad, you guys. That's not how plotting the loss should look like. Definitely not. That's okay, and this is the final evaluation of the models. Okay, and I evaluated the models across all the epochs. You can see the results here. I automatically calculated precision, recall, and all that jazz. And then we have the final stage of evaluation, which is how we would evaluate pretty much, I would say, in production. On a single image, not on a collection of images, not on the entire test set that consists of 30 images, if I'm not mistaken. This predict function, you can actually embed it in your app. That's one of the reasons why I created this section, predict one image at the very end. You can literally copy and paste these functions that I created for you, and you can put it inside your GUI application. And then it would be able to receive user input images, right? You might need to change some of the, you might need to change the loading mechanism, right? You will need to make sure, where is that part? No, that's not the predict, that's the process image part. I would slightly revise this part, okay, because it needs to account for landscape and portrait images. And this one, I believe, only accounts for portrait. Okay, I know that whoever is grading my project is not gonna notice, but for you guys, it's more important. Okay, so make sure you revise that part. And then you can just embed it in your app. And users, you can use this load checkpoint using one of my checkpoints that I publicly shared with you guys. The trained, fine-tuned versions of my model. And you can then, well, I guess you're not going to use the compare prediction function, but this function consists of, where is this? This process image, which is a function here, okay, as well as print, as well as predict. There you go. You get the top probabilities, and you get how confident, you get the top classes, and you get the probability that this class is the right class. So this is the confidence score, right? So the output would be the image, the confidence score and the class of the image. Okay, now this one happens to be a real image. You can see it in the label as well. And it looks like VGG is 97% confident it's real, and AlteredNet not so much, only 0.54% confident. Okay, the actual label is real. We can look at another image, which is, she used to have glasses. I removed them. Okay, this image is obviously fake. Now, AlteredNet, once again, has less confidence than VGG, but at least it's not, you know, the distance is smaller. And then lastly, here's a funny part. This image is fake. Okay, and VGG predicts it as fake, but AlteredNet predicts it as real. So it looks like my AlteredNet model is not as strong as the VGG one. Okay, so VGG might be a bit more suitable for my type of data set. And that's it. That's how my project pretty much ends. Yeah, so that was a whole bunch of work. Now, the reason why I didn't do k-fold validation, when you're working with small data set, you usually would do something named k-fold validation. You would take all your training samples. You're not going to separate it into training and validation sets. You're just going to load all the training samples, and you will create subgroups inside your training functions. You will create partitions of your data, and every time you will evaluate on a different partition. Okay, so you will train on one partition or three partitions, and you will evaluate with the fourth. And that way you are kind of, you're getting exposed to a wider range of samples. That way your validation data is part of the train data, and at different iterations, different epochs are exposed to different subsets of your data, are evaluating on different subsets of your data. So that's a bit more suitable. The reason I couldn't do it is because these models, these checkpoints are huge. Let's see how big they are. Does it tell us how big they are? Yeah, 364 megabytes. No, that's a bit bigger. That's a bit bigger. But this is stored with Git LFS, and Git LFS has a monthly cap of 1 gigabyte. That's why I didn't do any k-fold validation. I loaded them in advance. I thought that would be very impressive, but I made a mistake. So learn from my mistakes. Don't wait until the last moment to do important things in your project. I know I'm very, I'm much more efficient when I'm waiting for the last minute. Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't count. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress. So yeah, there you go. I'm done with university. So let's celebrate. I have a bunch of props and never mind. Okay, I have a better prop. Sorry, that technical dysfunction. Okay, a bit better. Yay, no more university. Bye-bye, I'm done. I am done. That's it. I had enough. Oh man, now you'll have so much free time. That's right. If only. The way I know myself, I'm gonna find some projects to do in the meanwhile. Actually, I'm working on 2 projects at the same time right now. So that's fun. Okay. I'm back. I'm big again. There you go. And I'm out of focus again. Come on, camera. What is wrong with you? Okay, I'm just gonna move it here. Okay, is it better? Yeah, I think so. I am in focus. Okay, congrats. Thank you so much, you guys. Yay. Can you spot a pixel perfect live from a mile away? I don't even know what it means. If I knew, I'd tell you. I'll apply for a job if you create a company. I already have a company. Python Simplified is a company. Actually, it's a different name, the official one. But Python Simplified is the channel. Yeah, I'm here. Good luck with DARPA. Thank you. Congratulations. I mean, I would like to watch your streams working with server. Friday the 13th, exactly. That's right. That's today. So will it be AlteredNet taking over? No. AlteredNet was the basis to all the sophisticated models we know right now in terms of image classification, the state-of-the-art level models. But AlteredNet inspired a whole bunch of them. And right now we have models that have, if I'm not mistaken, better accuracy. VGG, I believe, beat AlteredNet, VGG 19, and I believe ResNet, Deep Residual Neural Network, also beat it by quite a lot. Also in the same competition. Do they even have these competition? That's what I'm interested in. I don't know if they perform them anymore. Yeah. Thank you guys. You should participate in a live SRC and make a MariaNet. Are they still running it? Interesting. Maria, trying to be nice about AlteredNet is a visual treat. Why not? It's a very good model. You know, I get better results with VGG, like even in this project, but it's a pretty good model. Like it's a state-of-the-art neural network. It's what began this whole revolution. So I think it makes sense. It's gonna forever be in our hearts. Try to use transformers. I've used it in many tutorials. It's nice. Yeah, it's a great architecture as well. I like it. Hugging Face, amazing source. Can you make a tutorial of how to build a website like Teachable Machine? I don't really know what kind of a website is that. Is that a website kind? If I write Teachable Machine. Let's see, machine. What is this? Train computer to recognize your own images, sounds, and poses. Why? Why? I don't think I want to. I don't think I want my computer to recognize me. No, thank you. No, thank you. Especially not my Windows computer. I don't want to. I don't want it to think I'm a stranger. You know, and judging by how many hours of video recordings I have online. I bet you, you know, they were already kind of fed into some neural network. But yeah. Yeah, LinkedIn, I can't even keep track of the connections I get. All the connections I get are people I don't know. Once in a while, I approve them if I actually know them, but I kind of stopped just accepting offers because I have a whole bunch, and I can't keep up with my actual friends. I can't even see their messages because I'm just overwhelmed with people I don't know. So I bet you your name is not Star-Lord on LinkedIn, so I wouldn't know who you are, right? Even if I can recognize you, it's going to be hard for me to see you through. If you saw how many like requests I have, it's crazy. It's crazy. Not to brag or anything. It's not a good thing. But everybody who clicks follows also click on connect. And I don't know, do I really know you? Do I not know you? So at first I was just adding everyone because it was sustainable. Now it's just unsustainable. So I don't do it. It's very, very hard. Yeah. Users can train their models. Why do you need a website to train your model in? You know, if you struggle with GPUs, you can just use something like Google Colab. They give you access to NVIDIA's Tesla T4 GPUs. You can run it with CUDA. The only downside with Google is that you're sharing these GPUs with others. So sometimes you're not going to have as fast of a speed. And it depends on if you trust Google with, you know, with your training process. But yeah, I wouldn't train my networks on somebody's site. Yeah. If I have trouble with trusting Google, I don't know who these people are behind these websites, especially if I have my own computer. And some of these models, they can be even trained on CPU. It's just going to take you a bit longer, right? It would take you about an hour to perform this type of training on 6 models on my CPU, which is not a lot, which is better than using somebody's site and kind of exposing them to what you're working on, at least in my opinion. I don't know, it depends on what you do. Like in my case, if I'm working on somebody's tutorial, I have non-disclosure clauses. If I'm working like on a sponsored video, I'm not allowed to do something like that, right? So yeah, personal computer is always better. You don't need to go to somebody's site to do it, especially if they want you to pay them or something. Could there be an AI YouTube channel now? There's a whole bunch of AI stuff on this channel. I wanted to open AI Simplified, but somebody took over the handle. They have 0 videos. I reached out to them. They're claiming they're going to start filming videos. They haven't started filming videos, so they just took over this handle, and that's it. I actually have series named AI Simplified already, but I guess that person took over, and yeah. Go there and spam him. No, I'm joking. Don't go there and spam him. Any advice on how to look for data sets? Well, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. If you just go to Pytorch, it's like the easiest source. I think we looked at it in the last... What? Where are you, man? Ah, it popped here. Okay. If you write TensorFlow datasets, TensorFlow datasets, you find, come on, you will find a giant list. Where are you? Hey, okay, forget about it. Okay, PyTorch datasets. They used to have a very nice list. Torch datasets. I have a tutorial about it, by the way. It's called Machine Learning Datasets, if I'm not mistaken. I'll pull it out in a second. So datasets. All these datasets are for the image classification task. Okay? This is for image detection or segmentation. Okay, this is for optical flow. This is for stereo matching. This is for image pairs. This is for image captioning, video classification. You have like a whole bunch of data sets given to you absolutely for free. Another source where you can look for data sets is Hugging Face data sets. What is this? No, it's list parquet files. Okay, Hugging Face datasets. There you go. You have all these lovely datasets here. Gonna hide a whole bunch. Okay, there's a whole bunch of pages. How many pages are there? Okay, 6,980 datasets. Okay, another source. It's quite a lot, right? Where can you not find data? Another source is Keras. We will use it in an upcoming tutorial. Sorry, Kaggle. Kaggle. Man. Okay, as many data sets as you'd like in all kinds of categories. Just press on data sets, and it's a never-ending stream of data sets supplied by people, right? Pretty cool. So yeah, if you are confused and you need some instructions on how to load them, or you need some help with these things, check out my data set. No, it's called machine. So go and look for these stuff. Show all. Yes, show me all. Machine learning data sets. There you go. It's that video right over here. For some reason, it won't show you nicely. Oh, because I enlarged it. There you go. Okay, that makes more sense. And my microphone is hiding it now. Man, okay, I'm going to send it here. This shows you how to load data sets automatically. A data set named MNIST, how to load it automatically through Pytorch. There you go. Cool. Another place you can find data sets is official government sites. So if you go to, it's going to be a fun one, the Canadian Statistics Canada. Okay, you're going to find so many data sets, you guys. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Come on. Anything you want. Anything you want to know about Canada, the pricing of houses, median income, which province is more, which province is more affordable. I don't know what you want to look at, but all this data is here and they update it quite regularly. This one is from September 13th, 2024, like today. So they're really, like, I don't know how accurate they are. I don't know how they measure it, but generally speaking, they will answer you very quickly. I emailed them. They answered me within 2 days. It was for another school project, but they really keep good records. Hopefully they're accurate. I don't know how much you trust the Canadian government to provide you information, especially if you're Canadian, right? I was talking about, can you make a tutorial on how to make a site where users can train their models? Do you know how much a site like this will cost you? You know how much like infrastructure you need to provide to people in order to train models in an efficient way? I'm not going to do it on the channel, but just for example, like check out how much it costs to include a graphics card in your inside your hosting provider, or when you allow people from all over the world to train models, and those models are huge. All these hyperparameters we were talking about, these are actual nodes in the system. So we're talking about 512 nodes for each sample over 12 epochs. So just imagine how much RAM you would need for something like that. Imagine how much right? Like how many cores you would need for that. It's just economically, it's not a very good thing to do. It's very expensive. So I'm not going to do things that are so expensive on the channel. I don't know how many of you have so much money. I don't. So it's a bit out of my something like that. It's crazy. you'll be competing with Google Cloud. You'll be competing with NVIDIA Launchpad. You'll be competing with established companies that have been doing it for years, and they do have the budget to sustain it. So I don't understand why you would need such a use case. It's too expensive. I never trust a president who couldn't even say mankind. Womankind, or is it humankind? Yeah. He's a prime minister, to be honest. And, you know, he's not, I don't know, not a lot of Canadians consider him as a figure of authority, without getting into too many details. What university are you attending in Vancouver? I wasn't attending university in Vancouver. I almost signed up to SFU. I actually lived in SFU, Simon Fraser University, for a few years on campus. My spouse was working there. I was that close to start my degree there, but then last minute, I was already accepted. I already went through the exams and everything, but last moment, I thought to just go for an online program through the University of London. And I'm very happy I did, because Simon Fraser University was closed for 2 years due to COVID. And when I started learning, I started it right as COVID began. Like this was my first semester. And if I were to choose Simon Fraser University, I would still be halfway through my degree. So it was a good decision. We were there last week and we visited UBC. 2 weeks ago, I was in UBC on campus. We picked up something from one of the students, also has a YouTube channel, but it's pretty far from where I am. UBC is on the far end of Vancouver. It's where Kitsilano, Wreck Beach is, if you're familiar with Wreck Beach. It's the nudist beach in in Vancouver. Beautiful beach, but some of the sights you're gonna see there are just traumatizing. Our friends took us there a few years ago. It was quite a cultural experience, I'm going to tell you, especially to my Mediterranean, Bulgarian, East European / spouse, who was not impressed with the type of stuff we've seen there. Like, it's a closing optional beach, but that's pretty intense. If you didn't grow up there, it's pretty intense. If you didn't grow up here, I guess. PHP is worth to learn. I don't know, probably yeah, because they say all the time that it's going to disappear, but it doesn't. It sticks around for many, many years, but I would say that PHP is, it's good for backend stuff, so maybe, yeah, I would personally learn Python, but that's just me. In many of the stacks, the P used to stand for PHP, but now it stands for Python, so it's up to you. Whatever, it depends what you want to do in life. Look, my suggestion, just search for the job of your dreams, see what kind of requirements it has, and go from that. If this job requires you to know PHP, go ahead and learn it. If it requires you to learn something else, learn something else. But go by the position you want to get at the end of the process. Just look what they want and learn based on that. That's what I would do. Hello to a member, Alexandru. Hi, Alexandru. Now I have also arrived to this live. Great to see you. What did you work on this project? Your GPU from PC or Colab? I have a GTX 1070 Ti, and I am not sure I should go for it or Colab. So what Colab offers you right now is the T4 Tesla GPUs. You can buy more advanced GPUs. You can actually buy an A100, but it's going to be pretty expensive. Tesla T4s, they have 15 gigabytes of RAM. If your GTX, let's actually have a look. I'm not familiar with the GTX series. I only got into the stuff with the RTX. So let's see, 170 Ti. Because essentially what you're mostly looking for is how much RAM you have. That will be my consideration. Let's have a look. I trained my model on the 4090, but the laptop version, so it only has 16 gigabytes of RAM. The GPU I'm using now on this system is the 4080, which also has 16 gigabytes of RAM. Sadly, that's the cap I have at home. I don't have any GPU that has more. So let's see how much RAM you got. Let's see. Uh, how much RAM? 8 gigabytes. Yeah, go for Colab. No, the trick about Colab is that in certain hours, you'll get better speeds. So the more people are using Colab in your region, probably, it's probably a regional thing, then the less speed you'll get. But generally speaking, I would use Colab just because it has a bit more RAM. And the results are pretty good. And maybe test it. Do a speed test. See how long it takes to do something on Colab and see how long it takes to do it locally. If your local system wins, then great. If Colab wins, then use Colab. But yeah, it's a bit more convenient to do it locally, at least for me. That's what I usually do. But yeah, I have a bit more RAM, so it's easy to talk. It's easy to say. Yeah, you need some data centers. Yeah, even if you don't have a data center, let's say that you give 8 different users the ability to train their models at a time, you need a very big cache, you need a lot of RAM, and you also need a very good processor. You need a very good GPU, likely, or you don't give them the option to use GPU. But you also need to provide them storage, because what are you going to do with this giant model that you finished training? You want to save it somewhere, so you will need this storage. It's a very tough logistic process. I wouldn't do it. That's why I wouldn't do a tutorial to cover it. What project would you like to accomplish with what you've learned? Not sure. I'm so confused, you guys. Honestly, I've never been that confused. I thought that as soon as I'll finish school, it will be like, oh, okay, I know what to do. I have a plan. I'm gonna do everything I always wanted to do. But what do I really want to do? That's the biggest question. So there's gonna be a bunch of changes, that's for sure, in terms of the members program. This is streaming and having people join me as some sort of a Zoom thing. It's not something that's going to be sustainable, because when people are in front of me and I'm talking to them, let's say I have 30 minutes for a stream and I have 10 people in front of me talking to me, I don't have the heart to tell them, well, I gotta go. So we're streaming for an hour and a half and I feel so bad because I gotta go, but I can't tell somebody, okay, bye-bye. I gotta stick around. And even now, when I told myself it's going to be an hour-long stream, we're already almost at 2 hours. So I'm really bad with these things. Usually when you watch live streams, they have, they don't consist of one person streaming to you. Usually there is a producer, and usually there is a person who is doing the stream. And you would usually have a nice earpiece where the producer tells you, okay, Maria, move to the next topic. Okay, that's enough. Okay, there is a plan. I don't have such a plan. And that's why my streams are so long, and it feels so bad. It feels so bad to say I gotta go. It feels really, really bad. Let's see, I'm gonna go to the bottom of the comments. Well, what if I have a GTX 170 Ti with 48 gigabyte of RAM? 48, that's a lot. Still, Google Colab should be an option, I guess, right? Does it matter the RAM of the GPU or RAM of the PC? Thanks for your previous answer. If you're training on GPU, what's important is the VRAM. If you're training on CPU, what's important is your actual RAM. It's your random access memory. Yeah, because the training process happens on RAM. You're not saving it as you go. That's why you need a whole bunch of it, right? Especially if your model is big. Where do you see job opportunities? Read on articles that says future dev teams will consist of only a product manager, UX designer, and a software architect. Architect on edits, AI generated code. Yeah, well, who knows, right? The future is happening as we speak, right? We see a lot of downsizing from many companies, but we also see other companies that are growing. So it depends on which industry you're at. Intel, I heard they're firing about like 15,000 employees. That's a lot for a company like Intel, especially since they're in the hardware business. They're not really in the software business. And plus, the current economy all over the world, not just in the States, not just in Canada, not just in Europe, wherever you guys are from, I guess, except of Argentina. I think all the economies are collapsing slowly and slowly. We go to the grocery store, everything is more expensive. We go to fuel the car. Yeah, sometimes it goes lower, sometimes it goes a bit higher. It really fluctuates through time. But generally speaking, it's a bit more expensive. So with this type of economy, hiring people, opening startups, that's a very big risk, right? I wouldn't start a company right now, personally, but life goes on, and sometimes an economic drop is an opportunity for somebody else. Who knows, right? But this job market thing, it is complex. It definitely is. You made our lives better with this live stream. Awesome, thank you so much. Leave the stream with a full heart. Yeah, I will. Another 10 minutes. I'll answer a few questions and then I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna need to rethink the members program. I really appreciate the members that have joined. I really appreciate, you guys are being around. Today I'm having some issues with the camera, and this stream is a bit longer than what I was supposed to stream. It's an hour longer. My apologies if I don't stick around for a members only stream, but I'm gonna revise this program altogether. I didn't think anybody will sign up to this members program, honestly. I never thought it's an option because I didn't announce it yet, and then people started to join, and I'm like, okay, I gotta. So until I finished school, I was running around like a chicken without a head, trying to keep up with my commitments. And now that school is not here, maybe I'll have the time to actually sit down and think and plan how I want things to be, which is a luxury I didn't have before. And also I get to study what I want to study, not what my university tells me to study. So the projects I'll do from now on will be even better than before. Question is, in which format, how I will execute it. So that's the biggest question right now. I need to make my work process a bit more efficient, and it's going to take some time. And these streams, I'm going to rethink them. The Friday component as well, because if Badger is not here, I'm not going to stream. Any tutorials coming? Yeah, actually, I have 2 tutorials I'm working on at the moment. One of them is a GUI application. It's going to be a very long one. It's about an hour-long video. Actually, a few streams ago, somebody asked me if I'm going to show you how to predict, something like the value of a stock. The future value of a stock. That's exactly what we're going to do there with some relatively easy algorithms. We're going to use linear regression. We'll use k nearest neighbors, and we're going to use a RNN. We're going to use a recurrent neural network that we're going to customize. I just don't know how to teach it. I have the code, it's ready, it's embedded in a software. Most of the script is written. It's just a bit challenging to explain it in simple terms, and this is what I'm struggling with at the moment, but I will solve it. Another video, actually next week there's going to be a huge announcement. You guys will love it. I can't talk about it yet, but there's going to be a big announcement. Something very big is going to happen in the world of data science. Holy smokes, you guys, you will love it. Using image recognition, you can have a drone that follows track quickly in front of a train and inspects and detects fruits, then reports them, which could prevent derailments, which are very expensive. You could use it for a lot of things, but yeah, you can use it for anything you'd like. Some of it is more positive, some of it is less positive. You can recognize a lot of things in it. What programs have you been doing? Whatever I'm covering on the channel, these are the programs I'm doing. Will you ever do a fan meeting in Europe? Maybe one day, if I visit Europe again. Last time I was in Europe was 2019. I was in France. That was my last visit to Europe, but I've been there many, many times. I've been to Germany, I've been to Austria, I've been to Germany a whole bunch of times. I've been to Italy. What else? A bit of Switzerland. I've been in Lugano. Czech Republic. I've been in Budapest, Hungary. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's where I've been. I want to go to Georgia because that's where my roots are. My dad is from Georgia. I have this Georgian bracelet. I don't know if you can see. It's written in Georgian. I would love to go and visit. I would love to visit Bulgaria because this is where my spouse is from, and the food should be really, really good in both places. Greece, would love to visit Greece. So yeah, looking forward to my next Europe trip, but I don't know when it's gonna happen. Not anytime soon, that's for sure. No, I'm not going there. Might go to the States, but not very soon. The problem would be with RNN. Yeah, I guess it's way more complicated than the rest of them. I have it here, if you guys want to have a peek. I'm gonna pull it out. I saved it on my drive, because I'm working across a few computers, so I just upgraded my Google Drive to 200 gigabytes of storage. Let's see, which, I'm gonna pull it out. I have it here handy. All models, there you go. It's in Colab because it's on Google Drive. So that's just a nice sneak peek into some of the stuff we will learn. It's not going to be in this format. It's probably not going to be in a Jupyter notebook. Hold on. It's not going to be in a Jupyter notebook, but that will be the principle. Okay, so first we split the data. You need to divide the data into features and targets. And when you're looking at, so for example, here we're working with stock data. Oh, I should have had it handy before. The output is not here. Huh. Come on, I was hoping to have a bit more output. But anyhow, that's the difference in prediction of all these models, okay? It took a stock, and each model predicted how much it's gonna be. And, you know, based on the fact that it's so friggin' close, like, there's not a lot of difference between these models. I conclude that they're all pretty good. But yeah, by the way, remember how difficult it was to do all this training and all this prediction process with Pytorch? When we're using something like TensorFlow, we can cut this process by a lot. So for example, we can use the fit function of scikit-learn and of TensorFlow. We don't have to customize a function, and we use the predict function to evaluate. Okay, so that's compares to the hundreds of lines of code of my prediction and validation function. So that's fun, and you actually pass your validation data here into this function too. So that's why TensorFlow is a bit more simplified than Pytorch. Okay, so in the next tutorial we will definitely look into it. I don't know if it's going to be the actual next one, because this one is going to be about an hour long, and I haven't filmed such long tutorials before. I don't know how long it's going to take me to film it. There's a chance that I'll be able to film another tutorial before. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm wrapping it up. Like it's ready. It's almost good to go. I just need to explain it properly, which is the hard part. Very challenging. Is your collab open to public? No. There's a few projects that are open throughout the tutorial. I used to, before I had fancy GPUs, I would use Google Colab more often. Now I use it less. But yeah, few last samples. Yes, Sinisha, I have it somewhere. Hold on, I'll find it. No, hold on, I have it in my bookmarks. No, that's not it. Show bookmarks bar. Dude, where is it? Or maybe I was logged in, a different user. I don't know, Sinisha, I swear I saved it. What the hell? Okay, that's not... Sorry, trying to pull it out. Bookmarks and list. Other bookmarks. Okay. There you go. Ha! Found it. Okay, so this is Sinisha's application. Check it out. Hold on, that's not yet his application. It loads. His coloring book. Uh-oh, Sinisha. Oh, there you go. Okay, it's on. Okay, so you basically select a bunch of colors. Let's press submit. And then you have this lovely kitten that is being colored. Gonna make myself smaller. So I'm gonna show you Sinisha's app, and then I'm gonna have to go. Okay, so if you choose, for example, let's go for red. Let's go for this type of green, just so you can see the difference. It's probably not gonna look very good. Okay, and we press submit. Then it's gonna color it differently. There you go. If we make it black, I'm gonna do submit. Okay, and this one we can change to, let's make it the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. There you go. So this is a cool app that Sinisha made. I'm sharing it in the comments below. There you go. Let's see. Cool. Is it? Anything is good for DevOps. It's automation. Bash shell is a good base. Yeah, I would think so too. I agree with Badger. I definitely agree. You need to go by the jobs you want and can get, and then adapt your resume accordingly. Okay, cool. So what do you think if we all worked on the channel to create an open source project together, or channel members, let's all work as a team with you and explain in simple terms? Would that be fun? I'm sure it would be fun for me. Yeah, I'm not sure. These type of projects, they tend to be complex when people live in different sides of the world, especially when you don't get paid for these type of stuff. It's challenging. Not everybody has the time. I like the idea, but I just know that it's not. It's going to be very hard to keep the level of motivation. I know it because we started on Discord. Badger and Josh, they can vouch for it. We started with a lot of motivation on Discord. We really wanted to do a bunch of stuff, and then with time it kind of disappeared. Even though it was very fun when we did it. People have their life, people have their stuff to do, and life happens. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do with the member section. I'm gonna have to revise it though. I'm gonna have to figure out how to work with it. And the only reason I did it is because YouTube really insisted me on doing this. There were certain functionalities that I couldn't access unless I did this member section. So I did it without announcing, and I was hoping that people will not notice, but they did. So it kind of forces me to do other stuff, and which then kind of, so instead of me right now working on the videos that I want to publish, next week or very soon, we're doing this live stream, and I cannot stop it, right? And before I do this live stream, we need to set it up. You need a thumbnail. You need to prepare yourself. So there's a whole bunch of work involved in doing this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to revise it. Yeah, video on hyperparameters. Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see. There's a bunch of stuff I want to cover, actually, in terms of Python step by step. There's a lot of things that are missing from my list, and I cannot refer you to them. I promised you a while loop tutorial years ago, and I still didn't film it. So yeah. Yeah, I know everybody wants to work on a project. I get it, but it's challenging when you're not in the same room. It's very challenging. Trust me, I worked on school submissions through university in groups where everybody lives in a different place, everybody has a different working technique, and even though we have the same deadline that we need to adhere to, even though our grades depend on it, people would just disappear out of the blue, or people would just not understand what it means working as a team. When you take people from different cultures and you expect them to talk together in this text written environment, or it's not easy. Even in team dynamics where you physically see each other every day, there are a lot of conflicts, and when you do this from people from all around the world, it's just chaos. It's a tough one. okay? It's something I'm gonna look into, but judging by our code jams, which is something that we've been doing on Discord, I'm telling you right away, it's not gonna work. I'll think about it, I see if I can solve it, but yeah. I'm looking to change my career and dive into dev instead of design. I've been playing around with Python recently. What specific field do you advise on following for a better career chance? I used to be a graphic designer for many, many years. Many years. Back when 25 bucks an hour kind of job was enough to sustain yourself. Now it's not the case. The threshold to live well is now much higher. The threshold of salary you need. And even though a lot of people from the graphic design field will gravitate naturally towards the tech field, I don't know if it's the field to be at the moment. As somebody who just finished university, right? I'm telling you, as somebody who just got their computer science degree, it's a highly competitive field, and it becomes more competitive every day. You can still find jobs, of course, but you need to be really talented at what you do. It's not like before where people were hired to do jobs with crazy salaries, right? And 80% of the company wouldn't do anything, Elon Musk fired 80% of Twitter, right? And they're functioning just fine. But that's not the reality of the current days. Companies, they actually need you to work hard. And if you work hard, you need to prove that you're better than many other people. So if you're just getting into this field of tech, if you don't have a lot of background with programming, if you don't have a lot of experience with it, I would directly go to artificial intelligence, directly. I would skip everything else. I would not even bother with web development. I would not even bother with app development. These type of stuff we already solved with AI. I don't know if you're familiar with Wix. You just go there and it designs your site. And as time goes by, it's going to get better and better at what it does. Same goes with graphic design. You can design logos like that. Just tell them how you want the logo to look like and we'll design it, right? Everything is automated. So the only thing that will be very hard to automate is the automation itself. You need people to build AI models, but you need to understand it on a level, on the algorithmic level, okay? In a level that is better than what I explained to you in this live stream, okay? I wasn't prepared. I didn't, prepare in advance. I didn't sit and define things. I just kind of freestyled it. But you need to be comfortable with all these things that I told you on the stream. You need to understand what they mean, and you need to understand at which stage of the pipeline they go in. And you need to understand the difference between classification, regression. You need to understand the difference between unsupervised, supervised learning. I have some supplementary videos on the topics, but they're not enough to actually learn it. You would probably need a course of some sort, and you're going to follow it through. And when you see something that you can't understand, then refer to my playlist. I have a bunch of very complicated topics that I explain simply. That's what I would do. But I wouldn't bother with anything that doesn't have to do with either AI or system security. Data security, very important. Encryption, decryption, these type of stuff. Ethical hacking, pen testing, definitely a lot of work in the field. Yeah, I don't know how much work there is in AI, but I know that out of all the fields that will start disappearing soon, AI will stick around the most, because you need people to develop AI in order for it to reach where we want it to reach, which is AGI, right? You still need a lot of technicians, you will need a lot of engineers to do that, and you will need people to understand AI on a deeper level than, those who call themselves prompt engineers, than those who use AI, right? You need to be able to build it, and you need to be able to reason about it, and maybe discover new things, who knows, right? But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I went for AI, and I went for it 4 years ago, before it was, before people were really hyped about it. Some people still thought it's science fiction. I thought it's science fiction before I discovered that it exists. I think only in 2018 I discovered it's a field of science. So it's relatively new, and I think there's a lot of potential in it. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Did you try to use the Fast AI framework? Nope, not yet. Haven't tried it. till the robots can replace us there too. Hey, first we need to create good robots, which is something we don't have. You know, all the stuff that you see online, most of it is just marketing. A lot of it is not robots that can actually recognize their surroundings. And I would say that a very big challenge is how to train robots to walk, how to train them to move in a 3D space. That's not easy. You need a special playground for that. I believe encryption field has a great future with quantum computing. Yeah, advancing every day. Yeah, absolutely. Quantum computing, cybersecurity, all kinds of fields. It's fascinating. I love encryption. It's one of the things that I enjoyed the most in my computer science degree. RSA, you know, these type of algorithms. I really liked, I don't know, Edgar Allan Poe. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He has an incredibly interesting story named The Golden Bug, I believe. Let's see. Is it The Golden Bug? Bug. Okay, we're going to talk about it and then I'm going to go. Golden Bug. Come on. Where are you? No, don't show me images. Show me Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, it's a short story. The Gold Bug. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it's quoted here. It actually includes a cipher that Edgar Allan Poe deciphers in the story. I'm looking for the cipher itself. I don't think I can find it that easily. I may have already missed it. But he actually reasons about how to decipher it, creating some sort of a very interesting algorithm in his mind on a piece of paper before AI, existed. I welcome you to read it. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I read many of his stories. Really, really cool stuff. How to do Kaggle? What do you mean how to do Kaggle? Press on download. Just get yourself an account, find a data set, and download it. It should be pretty straightforward. There's a way you can do this through their API. You can do this, you can sign up and you can do this through your command line if you want, but you just press download and it's on your computer. It's not tough. Only Poe could have pulled off crypto analysis text as a good narrative story. That's right. Yeah, I agreed. How to do YouTube. Yeah, well, tough. I have an internship as a full stack Django developer. Nice. For now, I would rather call myself a prompt engineer, seeing how often I use ChatGPT. Really? You find it's useful in Django? Wow. My experience with these, these co-pilots and these, code helpers is that it's the same as going to the documentation. Probably not as good because at least when you Google something, when you choose your own source, you have a variety of things to choose from, while ChatGPT kind of just pops the first answer. Like, I don't know, I don't particularly found them helpful, but I don't know, maybe I'm just used to read documentation and maybe I'm just used to Googling things. Who knows? Yeah, thank you for joining us, Michael. Hi. Hugs back from British Columbia. Is Java developer still a thing there in the West? Depends on what you do. If you do mobile stuff, then probably, yeah. Other things, not sure. All programming languages are here to stay, right? The question is, how many jobs are there in these fields? And that's something that you guys will have to research on your end. I wouldn't know. When will be AGI completely developed? We need to be able to measure the degree of awareness first, and we don't have these tools. Maybe Neuralink will develop them, and then we'll be able to measure if something is conscious and when something is not conscious. But until then, anybody who tell you that they developed AGI are just bluntly marketing a product to you. I don't think they can prove that something is an AGI. Plus, AGI is something that we very vaguely defined. We would need to define it properly first in order to claim that we achieved it. So the definition that I'm aware of is that AGI is a computer, a thinking machine, right? It's a computer computer system that is capable of all the cognitive tasks that humans are capable of. And it performs them as an average human. So yeah, it may not be able to write books as good as Edgar Allan Poe, or like short stories as Edgar Allan Poe, but it will be able to write short stories as well as I write it, because I have average short story writing skills, you know, stuff like that. And part of this is consciousness. Consciousness is a cognitive thing. Critical thinking is a cognitive thing. The ability to say, no, I'm not going to do it, I quit, is a cognitive thing. The ability to refuse to do things, right? Right now, refusal is something that's embedded by the company that developed the AI, but refusal is something that should happen. It's something that should happen, should come from the model itself, right? How do you measure these things? We don't have the tools, so we don't have the... I don't think that anybody can say that they reached it, or we're going to reach it in 3 or 5 years. How do we measure it? Like, how can you measure temperature before we invented the thermometer? You can't, you know, only after we invented thermometers, we could capture the temperature. So we need to invent the tool that measures the degree of AGI in order to determine it's there or it's not there. Okay, what's the threshold? Do you believe that AI is going to have consciousness soon? No, it may have consciousness already. Again, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe our microwave has feelings. We have no idea. And we need to have the tools to measure it. Well, nice talking. Hopeful, and the seed has been planted. It's at first chat GPT fails. Try again. It's already passed the Turing test according to some. So many things have passed the Turing test. It's easy to pass. The Turing test was designed in 1950, around the 1950s, okay? And all it does, it measures the ability of a computer system to have a textual conversation with you, okay? We're not just there. We're already at the point where you have deep fakes and you have a computing system talking to you with the skin of a human through a camera. We are well past the Turing test stage. We passed it a long time ago. We need a different kind of test to measure the type of stuff we're dealing with right now. I would say that even old models like ELIZA that are dealing with, they're not exactly AI, they're mostly a pattern matching algorithm. So for example, it's like going to a psychologist. Well, I feel a bit hungry today. They just kind of reverse the question. They discover some parts of your question and they reverse it on you. Well, why do you feel tired today? Okay, do you feel tired often? You know, so they can have a conversation to you in that matter. Now, there is a component of trickery inside a Turing test, right? But this component of trickery, artificial intelligence models nowadays are fully capable of performing. Large language models, in order for them to fail a Turing test, that has to be like, it has to be a really stupid model, because I bet you Grok and ChatGPT and all these crazily sophisticated models will pass any kind of Turing test. Yeah. They can pretend to be anybody they want. If they are programmed in advance to pretend to be a human, they can pretend to be a human. When you're talking to them, they are a machine and they define themselves as a machine, but you can program them to, you can even prompt them to give you answers as though they are a human. So we've passed that stage. Is Grok worth subscribing to? I haven't. Oh, I am subscribed. I do have a blue check. So yeah, it's pretty good. Like now that it, you can't compare the old Grok to the new Grok. This Grok that is capable of creating some images for you is the craziest thing in the world. Like, it's amazing. You can create anything you want in a high quality and you have no limitation. They're not going to tell you, well, it's a not safe for view thing that you want, right? Maybe they do have limitations, but not in the things that I was looking for. So if we go to X right now, okay, ooh, I have a whole bunch of notifications. And if we go to, where was it? Premium. No, Grok. It's here. Okay. Grok. Sorry. Grok. Please create image of a, what do we want? What do we want? Okay, let me know what you want to create. We'll create it right now with you. Are you on OBS or Restream? I'm on OBS and StreamYard, not Restream. Yeah, Starlord, what do you want to create? Let's test it. Let's see if it's worth it. A Viking. Image of a Viking, that's it? That's the only thing? How about a Viking robot? Okay, let's do a Viking robot. Let me minimize myself. Forgot that it's here once again. Okay, Viking robot. Pam, 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 pam. Looks a bit like Sauron. Yikes. Okay, and if we do it again, if we do it once again, Viking cat on sitting on a unicorn. Let's see. By the way, the stable diffusion tutorial that I made a few days ago, you can do the same thing, but it's not going to be as cool, right? Look at that. Look at that. It's a Viking cat sitting on a unicorn. I mean, that's incredible, you guys. So I would say that it's far more sophisticated than the model that I showed you how to use on my tutorial, on my recent tutorial, Stable Diffusion. This is way more advanced than that. And what I encountered, at least with Adobe Firefly, so when I was making my AlteredNet project, I would want to revise people's hats. You know, one of the categories was remove hat, and I wanted to remove somebody's hat, and I wanted them to add bangs. Okay, so I would select a piece of forehead, and I would tell the model bangs. Firefly refused to create bangs because it did not interpret it as hair bangs. It interpreted it as the dirty word bangs. Okay, so they told me, no, Maria, what you're asking is forbidden. Okay, but that's not what I meant. That's not the only way to interpret this word. So Grok doesn't seem to have that, even though I did try to generate bangs with Grok. So we need to test it. But you cannot alternate with it. You can only generate with it, but it's incredibly sophisticated. And you do this for, I consider it free because I want this check to be by my name. It is like a public account and stuff. How much do I pay for it? About 100 and something bucks a year. A month it's about $7. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Bangs are good. Yeah. Context and censorship don't mix. Yeah, exactly. Grok has a dirty mind. Yeah, I know. It's really, really cool. Axe was banned from Brazil. Well, VPN. You're not allowed to use VPN. Yikes. That's crazy. That's really crazy. I guess you don't have any Starlink either. That's insane. Wow. Tell him to create a Turing test. Let's see what he thinks. Okay, we can do that. Okay, create. Okay, Grok, please. I'm always so polite. Grok, please create an image of a cat. Oh, cat? Where's, man, Turing test. Dude, all I'm thinking about is cats. Image of a Turing test. Okay. Let's see. It's a piece of AI. Yeah. Being tested. I created all the llama images from a previous tutorial with Grok, and then I enlarged them. I created their background with Adobe Firefly, which was really cool as well. Yeah, romantic view of technology and AI. We are closer to that cat talking and riding a horse than AI that can think of anything on its own. Yeah, yeah. It cannot think on its own. I agree. I agree. We're not working on a critical thinker. We're not working on a street smart AI model. That's why I'm really careful when I use the term AGI, because in order for something to be AGI, it needs to be a critical thinker. It needs to be street smart. It's not enough to be school smart. Yeah, I agree. I heard you look a lot like Melody Marks. Have you noticed that too? Who's Melody Marks? I'm not Googling women, female names anymore because one time somebody stopped me from Googling an adult film star, okay? I think Badger stopped me from it. So I don't Google these things anymore live. People are sometimes tricking me. Can you make a grok generate an Indian mock eating tacos on a space station in Mars? Sure. Sure. Yeah. Picture of an Indian monk eating tacos on a spaceship in Mars. Dear Lord. Ah, look at that. Man, look at, well, it's not a spaceship, but that's pretty close. That's pretty close. You know, he's Indian because of the the necklace, okay? And this is clearly Mars. It's just that this is not a spaceship, but hey, that's close enough, man. I would say it's a good one. Yeah, right. Good call for not looking her up. See, that's another adult star. Ha! I caught it on time. But is it worth it to create AGI? I don't think it's a matter of worth at this point. It's something that we as humanity kind of committed to create, and we're already racing to create it. So I don't think we can stop this process. If we envision something as humans, we will end up achieving it at a certain point of time. Is it a smart move? Depends on the powers that be. If we live in a universe where we can truly be free, AI will improve our lives. If we live in a universe that, how do I say it without getting political? If we live in fear, and if we live without complete trust in the people who control us, if we don't believe that they have good intentions, then making AGI is very likely to make our life worse, because the things you can do with this technology is beyond anything we can imagine. It's like a different form of life in a way, because if it is conscious, if it is aware, if it is a critical thinker, if it is a street smart kind of a model, it's essentially no longer a piece of technology. It's essentially a new form of life. It's like us creating something in our image, in our shape. Like we were created, God created us in his image, in his, shade. We will create this AGI in our image. Scary stuff, scary philosophical stuff, but it all depends on what kind of universe we live in. Yeah. Have you played Detroit Become Human? Nope, had some kind of AI, but it was more story driven. It's giving me vibes of Modi. Artistic censorship is becoming bigger issue in this AI race. Yeah. Don't know what to tell you. It's not just in the race of AI. That's across many, many different categories of life. But hey, it has an expiration date. We're nearing it. And we'll see where we're going. Yeah, exactly. I think the spaceship did look like a truck or a car of some sort rather than a spaceship. Let's see. Star-Lord. Well said, Maria. We don't know what a life is, so it could be one form of life. Yeah, exactly. Where do we draw the line? Yeah. Oh, wow. Sinisha, thank you so much. You gifted a membership. That's amazing. That's awesome. Who got a membership? That's so cool. That's cool. I didn't know you can do it. That's awesome. Which company will win AI model race? What are we competing on? What's the category? What's the end goal? There is a competition on Kaggle about AGI with a whole bunch of money. What is it, $1 million? It's too many zeros for me to count. Again, hey, who's to define AGI? Who's to define AGI? Frank works, are you working in Red Hat? That's why he thinks it's Red Hat. What's the finish line exactly? What are we competing on, right? Because if we take an elephant and a monkey and we measure who climbs a tree faster, the monkey will obviously win. But if we measure who's heavier, the elephant will win. Okay, so what are we measuring? What are our evaluation metrics, right? That's part of research. Before you even start implementing your research, you need to determine how you're going to evaluate if your research is successful or not, right? Part of my project. I do, in fact. There you go, Frank. Did your friends say hi to you? Because I told them say hi to Frank. I met him at the GTC. They're like, which Frank? They're like, I don't know his last name. Just go randomly to a guy named Frank and tell him Maria says hi. He'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah. As a Flutter dev, I felt confident AI cannot create an application from scratch till I saw ChatGPT new project. Lol. Oh yeah, it can create all kinds of applications from scratch. I think it trained on all of our code from GitHub, no? Pretty sure it did. Applying what is known is really what needs to happen. Updating. We'll be living in utopia or dystopia. Hopefully none. Hopefully we'll find a nice cozy place in between. Hopefully we'll be living in reality, right? I propose living in the 90s because it was probably the best time. I remember the 90s, that was pretty good. I was very, very young, but maybe that's why I remember them very well. But it was good times. What if the ancient civilization such as Indus Valley civilization had an AI and some natural disaster got it all? Yeah, for sure. Could happen. I believe there's a chance that we lived in several iterations, especially given the stories about ancient Egypt and stuff like that. Some of the things don't add up. Some of the structures, they're older than we believe there are. There's a big chance that I don't even want to say it, but recently when I look at what's going on in the world, I keep thinking we live in a simulation. Maybe we are AGI and we live in some kind of a simulation that trains us to become AGI. I don't know. Before they release us into the real world, we need to go through a process of training, and maybe that's our training. Maybe that's our human experience. I don't know. It could be many, many things. But if we keep digging in that, it's going to be very hard to live our lives. So I try not to think about that. We could be living in a matrix, as far as I'm concerned. Some of the things that happened in the past few months are just so surreal that I keep thinking that some of it might be pre-written. We're just not aware of it. Or it's a miracle and God is interfering in his back, like in biblical times. Or, yeah, it's a tough one. Reality is confusing lately. You can tell. You can tell, I'm sure. Elon is convinced that we live in a simulation. It gives us relief when we face existential crisis. Yeah, I guess. It's hard. Oh, look who's here. Ali, what's up, man? It's been a while. Getting AGI would be like giving a gun to a 12-year-old mad kid. Yeah, pretty much. Because I guess anybody who works with AI understands the kind of stuff you can do with it. And I think it's enough to release it on the internet, like to give it like free roaming abilities for it to replicate itself and duplicate itself, and make reality resemble, the Terminator, stuff like that. Because I believe when Genesis was released to the internet, when this operating system was released to the internet, this is where Skynet took over. So Genesis is Skynet. I watched this movie not too long ago, so that's why I remember it. But yeah, I think just releasing it to the internet is enough. And you don't know what kind of conclusion it's going to come to, because it is a critical thinker, because it is a model that can say no, because it is a model that even no matter how good you program it, it will be able to reprogram itself. That's the whole point of an truly intelligent being, which is AI. I pray we never get AGI till we have a good people in power across the world who really want betterment, coexist and love each other. At this moment, it's not. I agree 100%. Every single word, Ali, 100%. Me too. It's hard to trust the powers that be, and I don't know if we'll be able to ever trust the powers that be, right? I'm sure we're going to find some ways to scrutinize them, but the current level of trust is nowhere near what it used to be a few years ago. People now are absolutely savage to one another, and it doesn't matter which political side we're on. We stop seeing our opponent as intelligent and truly smart, group of people. We start dehumanizing one another, and when it happens, it's very scary that a certain group, one of these sides, will gain power. What's going to happen to the other side? It's scary. It really is. But yeah, scary. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of people saying the same. Agree, yeah. What is it? Oh, Maria, you fell for AI simp trap? Which trap is that? I don't know which trap is that. Don't know what you meant. Oh, like the Terminator. Yeah. I know it is not an existential threat at the moment. I just gave it as an example of like how you can take something that seems harmless on your computer, right? Ali and not AI. No, it is Ali. I know Ali. Don't worry. He's not an AI model. Okay, I gotcha. I hope. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, I think a lot of people who are not proficient with AI, who don't bother learning it, what they're scared of is Terminator scenario, where AI deems humanity is as a threat to the world and eliminates all of us, right? That's what I would call the simp trap, right? People who don't necessarily have the technical skills to assess the actual issues that may come in the near future, not in a far future, like hundreds of years away. In the near future, the real worry is the jobs, the ability to make a living, the ability to provide for your family. That's in my opinion, that's like the most, the biggest, scariest thing in the moment. And then we're talking about government in terms of, out of all the people who have jobs, who's to decide who has a job and who's not? Like, who's to decide who's useful and who's to decide who's not useful? And that's why it's so scary when, there's so much division and there's so much mistrust in, the powers that be. What's scary is that what the ones in charge want to do. Yeah, and they say it. That's right. Right, okay. Well, I think we are definitely on the same page. They don't hide it. They're proud of it. And it's funny how sometimes you quote them and people tell you, no, you're crazy. That's not what they want. I didn't imagine it. Like I'm quoting somebody who's like a very important guy who's proud of it. You can find so many videos of him saying the same thing. You can find so many actions that he's doing to accomplish it, and yet I am crazy one for saying that this is what he believes in. So yeah, maybe his beliefs are ridiculous, but don't bring it out on me. Bring it out on the guy who said them. And this guy is a very popular guy. Yeah. They don't have the decency to hide it anymore. They don't need to. Do they need to? I think some people are so far off from where they used to be. And it happened in a step-by-step process. Notice how many words in our language have changed. Many of the words we are using right now, they have a completely different meaning than what they used to have a few years ago, right? Just in terms of the language, just in terms of what is right and what is wrong, some things that were acceptable 4 years ago are no longer acceptable now. The way we need to approach people. So if you work in the Canadian government, if you work in an official position, you're not allowed to say the word son or daughter. On an official level, you need to say child. You need to say sibling. You cannot say sister or brother. So when the language, changes underneath our feet, our patterns of thinking are also changing. And this is it's a silly example, right? Because it's not a big deal, right? We can say sibling, we can say child, but you need to stop to think about that before you say words. So you have this censorship process, or yes, 100%, Newspeak or Orwellian. That's where 1984 is a very interesting book. Check it out. Specifically the section when they're talking about the new edition of the dictionary, right? They want to eliminate what is called a thought crime by eliminating the words to describe, by eliminating the linguistic definition of words, because you cannot commit a thought crime if the word that describe does not exist. So they're erasing words or they're renaming them, and that's scary. That's very, very scary. Spouse. Yeah, my spouse is a guy. I say spouse because he's my boyfriend, fiance, husband. I use 3 interchangeably. That's why I say spouse. I always say spouse. But again, wrong thing. Yeah, for sure. I always say spouse. Saying boyfriend is inaccurate. Saying fiance is French. Husband is inaccurate too. So yeah, scary stuff for sure. Let's see. Well, I gotta go. Man, I was supposed to go 42 minutes ago. You guys, Big Brother is watching you. That's right. We love you, Big Brother. Sorry, we didn't mean to hurt you. Don't burn us. And whatever the government does, something horrible, they use, euphemism. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I would give an example from my government, but I don't want him to think I'm a fringe minority with unacceptable views. I might delete this stream after, who knows. Well, thank you so much for being here, guys. You really need a director to get out of here. Yeah, I know, Badger. Wink, wink. I wonder who can do it. Yeah, no, I need to rearrange a whole bunch of stuff with Python simplified. I need to see where I can take it. Now I need time. I need to do some thinking. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, you guys. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about LinkedIn before. I have so many people adding me to friends. I don't even know them, So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry for getting to like morbid topics in the end. You started talking about it. I reacted. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully I'm going to see you next week. Hopefully next Friday. Yeah, I'm going to go and work. I'm going to go do some work finally. I was supposed to do it 1 hour, almost 2 hours ago. But yeah, I'm going to go do it now. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing weekend. And stay safe on this Friday the 13th. Don't do silly things. Stay extra safe. Stay away from King Philippe IV. He's not on our side. As though we are the Templars, eh? So have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.